So I just watched Antman and the Wasp Quantumania, and suffice to say, I think the critics were pretty wrong on this one. When the movie came out early for people, it got like a 43 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, if you don't know, really, really bad. Well, not really, really bad, but it's not the greatest. And that's basically the score that Eternals got and Thor Dark World got. So I was a little skeptical and worried about it, but the audience score, which was like an 89%, seemed pretty good. So I saw it anyway, because I actually am probably one of the few people who likes Ant-Man in the MCU. I think Paul Rudd is just awesome as Ant-Man, and I've always just thought of it as just this fun little comic booky side story that's happening in the greater story of the MCU, which is exactly how I would describe this film. It's just a big comic book. Everything happens at a quick pace. Everything is done and dusted pretty quickly. We get into the actual Quantumania thing, like, really quickly. Like, not even, like, 15 minutes into the film, we're already into the plot that everybody came here for. And it's just very fun and colorful and nice, which, I don't know if you know this, but I really love color. I hate it when comic book movies just want to be super duper serious and make it devoid of color, because it just feels wrong a little bit. Now, granted, there are a couple comic book movies and comic book related movies that aren't that colorful. I mean, the Batman is pretty dark for the most part, but it fits its tone and its story and everything. So, like, if Ant-Man was just like this dark, gritty story the entire way through, I would hate it, because that's not what Ant-Man's really about. I mean, he's kind of a colorful, corny character. He's a guy that can shrink. You can't really make that this huge, dark story, which, I mean, it does. This movie does have serious moments. It's not devoid of anything serious or dark. I mean, Kang the Conqueror is definitely the highlight of this film, and he is like anything but like joyous and colorful. He is pretty dark and serious, and probably one of the best things about this movie. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna get into spoilers from here on out, so if you don't want to get spoiled, I suggest you turn off the video right now. Like, right now. I'm giving you your warning right now. I'll wait a couple seconds. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the movie in spoiler link. Alright, I'm gonna go see it. Yeah, so for the most part, I like this movie, but there are kind of a couple weird things that I kind of noticed. For one, Janet's kind of a huge jerk the entire film, and it's weird because I don't really remember her being that way. Usually Hank is the one that takes kind of the old person jerk role in the other two Ant-Man films, but he kind of takes a back seat in order for her to have this whole, I guess, PTSD thing with the quantum world, but she doesn't really get her comeuppance for, like, causing her family danger for not telling them anything. Like, she doesn't really get any sort of talk about how she kind of messed up. She doesn't really get anything, which I guess is fine. Like, it's fixed, but I would have liked for her to get at least one talking to, like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, or whatever, because she caused a lot of problems, and a lot of these people lost their homes and their lives because she messed up, and it's kind of blown over after a little bit, and nobody really cares anymore. So that was a little strange. Another weird thing that I noticed was, for an Ant-Man and the Wasp film, there's not a lot of Wasp in this film. She doesn't really get to do a whole lot. She kind of just hangs around with Hank and Janet the entire time, and then saves Ant-Man at the end of the film, which I guess is fine. But it's a little sad that she doesn't really get anything to do. Speaking of that ending, I really thought that Ant-Man was gonna stay with Wasp in the quantum realm. I mean, it would have been a sad, emotional ending, guessing from the trailers when he said that we both have to lose. Like, I really thought that Ant-Man and the Wasp would just have to stay in the quantum realm. And I'm glad that the film ended the way it did with them getting out of there, but it felt a little strange that they even, like, stayed in there for a little bit. Like, it just gave me a little bit of false hope, like, that they were gonna stay there and build a new life. I don't know. I just thought that it was a little strange. The last weird thing that I'm going to talk about is that this movie is kind of guessable sometimes. Like, there were points where I'm like, oh yeah, I saw this in the trailer, or oh yeah, I kind of heard about this. I don't know, maybe it's just me accidentally stumbling onto some things that kind of told me how the movie was gonna go. But let's be honest, like, almost everybody and their mom knew that Darren Cross, aka the Yellow Jacket, was MODOK. And I'm glad that they didn't, like, loom that over the entire film. Like, oh, who's under the mask? No, like, almost immediately, they tell you, yeah, it's Yellow Jacket. Like, it's no secret. Everybody pretty much knows. And they also kind of skim over it, like, yeah, everybody kind of agrees that Yellow Jacket was not the best villain in the Ant-Man trilogy, or even in, like, the entire MCU. He was not the greatest villain. So taking that kind of a waste of a villain and turning him into probably one of the best villains ever, really, like, making him, like, extremely hammy as well, like, really makes me happy that they did that. That was a really great idea that they had. And I'll talk about him a little bit more. But for the most part, yeah, this movie's kind of guessable. I mean, literally, in the trailers, Ant-Man says this.
Have to win. We both just have to lose.
Like, what? That could go, like, either one of two ways. Like, why would you do that, movie trailer? Like, why? That makes everybody think that Ant-Man's gonna die, which was the longest theory for a long time, was that Ant-Man was gonna die. And yes, I am very glad that it ended in a very happy and upbeat way. I love the fact that Ant-Man is, like, questioning himself, being like, wait, did I just end the entire universe? Like, I love that. That feels like it's very funny and cute. Bill Murray's in this movie, and he's only in there for, like, one scene. And I pretty much forgot he was there after this scene, so just want to get that out of the way. Also, I can't go this long without talking about the one, the only, MODOK. Oh my goodness, I love MODOK. As I said before, what a profound idea. Well, not profound, I guess. What like a cool idea, I guess. To make a villain that didn't work and just turn him into something that's funny, hilarious, and kind of cool. And I don't know if you know this, but I've been wanting MODOK to appear in a live-action Marvel movie for years. Like, ever since, like, the first phase of the MCU, I've been wanting MODOK to appear in a Marvel movie. And seeing him in this one just makes me so freaking happy. And I like that the movie doesn't really take him that seriously. I know that it is a little bit weird that he's kind of the punching bag sometimes of jokes. But, I mean, what did you expect? Like, a really serious floating head? Because that's essentially what MODOK is. He's kind of goofy, like, villain. I mean, yeah, he has serious moments, especially in the comics. He's, like, the smartest being in the universe. But you can't really take him all that seriously, and I don't think anybody's taking him seriously in the comics either. Like, he's kind of a fun villain, and I'm glad that he kind of suits well in this movie. And yeah, maybe the CGI on the face is a little strange sometimes, but again, what did you expect? It to look, like, really good? No, it's supposed to look grotesque and weird like that. He kinda has a bit of a redemption arc, which is... the moment's a little strange. I'm sure anybody who's watched the film knows what I'm talking about, but he has, like, this whole speech at the end before he dies, and it's weird, but also kind of hilarious, and it's fine, whatever, I'm cool with it. Okay, fine, I'll talk about Kang. Wow, what a straight-up spectacular villain. I mean, he's just so cool, and I'm actually kind of scared, and I don't want everybody in the entire world to die, but he's so scary, and he has a plan, and there's millions of him, and they're just, oh my goodness, and he was, like, so powerful that the other Kangs banished him. Like, it's just so cool. It's just a little cool idea. I love it, and I'm so excited for him. Jonathan Majors puts on such a spectacular performance as Kang, and it's just, oh my goodness, I love it. One thing I wish we got to see more of, other than MODOK, was William Jackson Harper as Quaz, the telepath. I don't know, I love Chidi from The Good Place, and his performance, like, and his delivery on some lines were just so, it just reminded me of Chidi, and it made me so happy. Like, it just was amazing. And he got the biggest laugh out of me with one of the things he says. Watch the film, it's hilarious. But yeah, we don't really get to see him. I mean, he's in the background, but mostly it's focused on the one leader girl who has like the staff and the warrior. Whenever like that's like the only quantum person that gets focused on. So I guess that's fine. Whatever. I guess we can't get everything. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this film. It's just really, really fun. It's a comic book come to life, which is a little weird since all Marvel movies are just comic books come to life. But this is the one where I was like, I'm having fun. This feels like a comic book just kind of jumped or what. It's really hard to explain, but this is just really good. This is really good. This is really solid. It's not perfect. It's not at all perfect. It's like number 17 on the Marvel list for me out of what, 32. But yeah, this is just pretty good. This is just pretty fun. And those post-credit scenes have me really excited for Loki Season 2 and Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars for that matter. It's just gonna be so awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna give Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania a 7 out of 10. Smile, Steve.